we're gonna learn how to use something called content aware fill in Photoshop to get rid of like an image or a part of an image. So once you download the Japanese garden file in your Google Classroom, you're going to open it in Photoshop. So we're going to click open. And I know it's still in my downloads because I haven't moved it. So it's right here, Japanese garden, start. So open that file. And this is the picture we're going to be editing. The first thing we're going to do before we do any edits, we're going to save this as a PSD in our correct folder in our desktop. So go to File, Save As, and I'm going to put this in my desktop, and I have my own digital media folder. And I don't want to save it with all these other things, so I'm going to make its own folder, Chapter 5, since we're working on multiple chapters. And then up here, I'm gonna put my initials. So instead of start, I'm gonna click or type in my initials. And then format, I'm gonna switch it to Photoshop. That way it saves layers. If you were to save it only as a JPEG, it's just saving the final, like a picture. If you ever need to go back and edit any of your layers are not gonna be there. So Photoshop will maintain your layers. And then click save. Alright, so first thing is we're going to be using our lasso tool, which is this one. Looks like a little lasso. So the book says that we need to switch the settings in the option bar up here. This is our option bar. We need to set the feather to 25 pixels. So we're gonna type in 25, click return or enter on your keyboard. So that's giving you like a little feather effect on the selection that you're going to do. And then we're going to be working on getting rid of this rock that's on the left of the image. So I'm going to zoom in right there. And we are going to draw around the rock and include the reflection because that's part of it. Because we want to get rid of the rock, but if we see the reflection, it wouldn't really make sense. So we're going to carefully draw around the rock like this. There you go. And then we're going to go up here to edit and then go down to content aware fill, this one, content aware fill. And that's going to open up a this little box. You have a preview right here, and then you also have your let me zoom out. You also have this this image on the left with all this green highlighted. So everything that's green is basically what the software is using as the content aware what it's using as a reference. So green is using it's sampling. It's called a sample area. So everything that's green is a sample area. Everything that's not green, it's not being included as a sample area. And then on the preview window, you can kind of see, like, based on the sampling area, that is what the program came up with to fill in that space. What we're going to do is we're going to take away some of the sample area from the trees, this foliage in the back. So if you look at my brush, my circle, it has a minus sign. So if I click on something, it's taking away from the sample area. If I switch it up here to the plus, then that's adding back to the sample area. Your size right here, this is your brush size. You can control how big or small, or you can use the brackets on your keyboard next to the letter P. What we're gonna do is switch back to minus, increase our brush size a bit, and we're gonna take away the foliage because we don't want that to be used in our sample. And it's not going to be perfect. I just want you to understand how this process works. And I'm gonna switch back, make my brush smaller, just add this little piece right there. And then the other thing I do want to point out is these settings on the right, your sampling area options are usually set to auto. So it gives you the sample area automatically. If you switch to rectangular, it's going to do the whole image. And then custom, you get to do it completely on your own. So you have to go in and customize your sample. So we're going to switch it back to auto. And again, we're taking away the foliage. So I'm just going to quickly do a pass through with a big brush again. But I just wanted to point that out. Usually we just stick to auto. All right, and then click OK at the bottom. And Command D to deselect. And that's pretty much it. Again, it's not perfect, it's not ideal. I personally would just go back and clone stamp some things to make it look more realistic. But again, this is more about explaining the process of a content-aware fill, how it's used. And then you'll see here that it actually created its own background copy. So you can turn it off and on to see the difference. So once you're done, you're going to go to File, Export, Export As, and we're going to export a JPEG in fair quality and put it in that same folder. So digital media, I already have my initials, so we're good. And that JPEG file is what you're going to turn in.